What does intense eye contact between a man and a woman really mean? What's the secret behind a long-held gaze between a man and a woman? They say a look can say more than 1,000 words. But does intense eye contact always mean it's love at first sight? For some people, that powerful look between a man and a woman is undeniable proof of sexual and emotional attraction. For others, love at first sight is just a fantasy. They believe it's an invention of the movie industry, created just to sell more tickets. Yet, one thing is certain, when it comes to flirting, nothing is more important than bold eye contact. But how can you use it successfully, and how do you interpret it correctly when it happens to you? Imagine this: you're out at a club with your friends. The bar is packed and the atmosphere is electric. Suddenly you lock eyes with a man across the room. That eye contact makes your heart beat faster. It's intense and it seems to last forever. Finally, you can't take it anymore and look away, feeling a bit flustered. It seems obvious, right? That's classic flirting, and isn't it? But then, why didn't he smile? The more you think about that intense gaze, the more confused you get. Maybe it wasn't a sign of flirting at all. Maybe the other person was just lost in thought and happened to be looking in your direction. Maybe, but turns out there's more to a simple look than you'd think. In short, it's not always easy to interpret a held gaze between a man and a woman, even in a club or a bar, and especially if the eye contact was brief. So, here's a little guide to help you understand what that look means, and how you can use eye contact to your advantage when you flirt. How to correctly interpret eye contact, flirting without looking at each other. It just doesn't work, because it's so important. That first moment of eye contact can be tricky. The key is to find the right balance of length and intensity. Staring for too long can quickly feel intrusive or even a little creepy, but glances that are too quick and shy might not even be noticed. Once you make that first connection, everything could be so easy. That look does all the work. Well, almost. Both men and women often struggle to maintain eye contact, which can make them feel nervous and insecure. Most of us tend to sneak a peek at the person we're interested in, then quickly look away and awkwardly sip our drink. That's because the fear of rejection is universal, and more people are shy than you might think. Eye shyness is when a person can't hold eye contact for long, especially with strangers, and quickly looks away out of embarrassment. A typical reaction, particularly for women, is a quick, evasive glance to the side. Or they might look down if they feel insecure. Men, on the other hand, often tend to hold a stranger's gaze, which can sometimes be explained as evolutionary, competitive behavior. How to interpret a man's gaze. When it comes to eye contact, men are often a bit bolder than women. If a man holds your gaze and keeps looking at you, you can be almost certain he's interested. By returning his eye contact, you're signaling that you're interested too. How to interpret a woman's gaze. Conversely, even if a woman doesn't look at you for very long, her repeated glances in your direction are a strong sign of interest. She relies on short, recurring eye contact to flirt. Of course, there are exceptions to every rule. If you're interested, what's the best way to respond? While intense eye contact is a great first step, if you're interested, more needs to happen next. This is especially true if he keeps trying to make eye contact but doesn't approach or speak to you within a few seconds. Many women in this situation start to wonder if he was just randomly looking in their direction. This is your moment to kickstart the flirtation. As soon as your eyes meet again, show him you're open to connecting with a friendly smile or a nod. Of course, this applies to men too. Clearly, it's also possible the other person isn't interested. This is usually obvious when they avoid prolonged eye contact and generally try not to look at you. An annoyed eye roll or other clear gestures are, of course, much easier to interpret. So, while the gaze of someone who is interested can say 1,000 words, looking away also sends a clear message. Pay attention to body language. Beyond the gaze itself, you need to pay attention to body language. Make sure your eye play is intense but not too long. If you look someone in the eyes for more than a few seconds, they can quickly start to feel uncomfortable. The less you know each other, the shorter the acceptable duration of eye contact. So, if you don't want to scare the other person off, keep your first looks brief, but make them more frequent. You can often see how someone feels about making eye contact just by looking at their eyes. Wide eyes and dilated pupils indicate interest, but if the other person squints, they're probably uncomfortable unless their contact lens just slipped. It's important to carefully observe the other person's body language and correctly interpret the flirting signals. For example, if a woman's upper body is turned towards you, it's usually a sign of interest or at least openness. Here are the most common signs that a man isn't interested despite the initial eye contact: frowning, eye rolling, turning his back to you, leaving the room, looking at his phone, crossing his arms, starting a conversation or flirting with someone else, getting lost in conversation with his friends, giving you side-eye. On the other hand, nervous self-soothing gestures, like unconsciously touching their chin or nose, are actually a positive sign. According to one American study, this is especially true for men. While men might be more reluctant to smile because of social conditioning, think playing it cool, women are much more likely to laugh and smile. This is how they show they're open to connecting. But be careful. Women sometimes use laughter to hide insecurity and nervousness. So don't rely on their gaze alone. Also, friendliness doesn't always equal interest. In most cases, however, these should be unmistakable signs of flirting. A playful look, repeatedly touching their hair — evolutionary biologists call this grooming behavior — frequent self-touching, like stroking their own arm. What about eye contact on a first date? Looking someone in the eye for a long time isn't always easy, especially on a first date. You're nervous and probably worried the other person will notice. But here's the thing, the other person is probably just as nervous as you are. So you should gather your courage and meet their eyes. Especially if your date is telling you something with enthusiasm, it would be rude not to look at them. Eye contact signals interest. So if you like the person sitting across from you, show it. If you keep looking away or at the floor, they might take it as rejection or disinterest. Besides, a look can often say what you don't dare to say out loud. It can be truly magical and lead to unforgettable moments. After all, the first kiss often comes after a moment of intense eye contact. Practice to master the art of the gaze. Although it might be difficult at first, flirting with your eyes is much easier than you think. You can even try practicing it in your everyday life. Prepare for the real thing by simply making eye contact with a passerby on the street. Or look the friendly cashier at the supermarket in the eye. You have nothing to lose, and over time, you'll notice that you enjoy it more and become more open with others. Chances are you'll get a very positive response because everyone likes to feel seen. The first look reveals everything. They say men are bad observers, yet during a first meeting they are wide awake. In the few milliseconds it takes to exchange a glance, the amygdala in our brain reacts either positively or negatively to the person we're meeting. How that evaluation turns out depends mainly on the first facial expression we perceive. Brain research has now proven what we've always known. That first impression is very hard to change later. So, what does a held gaze between a man and a woman reveal in different situations? 1. It shows if you're sizing someone up. Looking someone up and down is something men tend to avoid, as it can be seen as sexist or objectifying. However, if a woman subtly scans a man from head to toe shortly after meeting him, he doesn't feel like he's being undressed with her eyes. Instead, he feels like he's being assessed. In general, this kind of scanning look suggests you're a bit critical, always looking for things to improve, and quick to label others. 2. It shows if you're content. Often, we meet people in somewhat cliché circumstances. A person who is happy to share their confidence and security with others, even with a perfect stranger, often radiates that contentment. In this case, a steady gaze means you are happy and satisfied with your life. It shows if you're self-confident. When your gaze meets another person's, you naturally straighten your posture. You don't slouch. The look from a confident man or woman proves they believe in themselves. People also tend to unconsciously mimic the body language of the person they're meeting. 4. It shows if you enjoyed the company. First, people pay close attention to how someone laughs. Laughter has a lot in common with sex, loss of control, devotion, physical exertion. Second, people notice if you have a knack for entering someone's personal space without being intrusive. In short, this kind of look means you feel comfortable. 5. It's a green light. Many women make a rhetorical effort to drop the words "my boyfriend" or "my husband" into the conversation within the first few seconds. These phrases usually have one purpose: to make it clear that she's already taken. If that doesn't happen and the eye contact continues, it can mean, yes, you can try your luck. 6. It shows if you could be friends. I met one of my oldest friends when we both started a temp job. In those first few seconds, we met each other, our future boss, and a few other new colleagues. There was a lot of first eye contact, but the look between us was special. It wasn't electric, indifferent, or judgmental. I was single at the time, but I swear it was clear in those first seconds that we would never fall in love or end up in bed together. Humans are wired to answer one question when they encounter something new. Will this hurt me or help me? That first look helps answer it. 7. It shows if you're captivated. This has to do with how you look at each other when you first meet. Do you look through a person, as if to say, "Prove to me I'm not wasting my time"? Or do you look at them and hold their gaze? Maybe it feels a little intimidating, like you're being tested, but mostly this look says you're interested and open to where this encounter might lead. It's a challenge you accept rather than a competition for attention. 8. It shows you're comfortable in your own skin. A beautiful woman with bitten nails who doesn't hide her hands, lipstick that isn't reapplied every 10 minutes, hair that isn't constantly being fixed. These are small things, but they get noticed. They indicate that you are okay with yourself, self-assured, and have the courage to be imperfect. Despite these imperfections, a steady gaze proves that you are proud of who you are. Besides, perfection isn't interesting to anyone. Not 9. It reveals how you read people. With all the information we gather, intentionally or not, in those first few seconds, one thing is very clear: both people are doing the same thing. Researchers at Harvard University confirmed not only that our first judgment is usually quite accurate, but also that women are measurably better and faster than men at making it. The only safe assumption is that there's no point in pretending, because if she wants to, a woman can read a man like a road sign at a single glance.